And welcome back. Linda Vorek is here. She's the president of the GRF board. And today they have their, I think it's officially called the 2014 Business Plan Presentation Meeting version 3.
Correct.
Yeah, but we just call it, you're presenting the budget for next year.
Right.
That is at 9:30, right after our show, as we said. But yesterday, they had their monthly meeting, their August meeting. Not a long one. It only ran 2 hours and about 17 minutes, and went fairly quickly. There was one main topic there.
Absolutely.
And
There's
always one main one. And you had a lot of people in the boardroom yesterday asking questions and voicing their opinion. And this was about the possibility, or at least looking into, there is a room that's next to the stage at Clubhouse 3. And for years, it's been used as the billiards room. And the theater groups were kind of inquiring about, hey, maybe we could have this room for our needs, a rehearsal room or storage room, whatever it might be. And that was the main topic yesterday.
Yes. It came before CAC actually in a member's comment in June, and we asked to have it put on the agenda for the CAC meeting, and which was last week. And we unanimously approved consideration of the billiards room as a dedicated theater arts room. And yesterday what GRF did is decided that it'd be best to send this to the Recreation Ad Hoc Committee for review under the Recreation Master Plan and determine what actually is the best location for the theater arts room. And we agree that there is a dedicated room needed for this. Right now, I think and it said yesterday, they have 64 rehearsal dates in different clubhouses throughout the community. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they pay for all of that. And you know, it's actually even though it is a club, it is an activity for the whole community. Mm-hmm. And just like we have dedicated tennis courts and billiards rooms and video club room and PC and Mac room, we feel that it makes sense to have a theater arts location that people can go to, take classes, do whatever in theater arts. So that having been said, we were inundated with billiards people and theater arts people yesterday, mm-hmm. and they were extremely cordial, and
they were.
It turned out to be a very productive meeting. They recognize that nothing has been absolutely decided, and that we are willing to listen to their ideas as to where these things should be located, and it will go forward from there. You know, Clubhouse 3 is scheduled for renovation, and it is part of the Recreation Master Plan that in the Alternative 3 that we have approved and the Ad Hoc Committee is working on. So it makes sense for us to look at this before we set the absolute renovation scope of work. Mm-hmm. And it's scheduled to go to an architect in this next year. So if that were going to be changed from a billiards room, we should know that before we spend money on an architect to just update a billiards room. If it's not going to be, then we can focus our attention on wherever we decide the theater arts should go.
Okay, and as both parties said yesterday, they're willing to look at different locations, mm-hmm. and I can see the need. I can obviously see the need for both. The billiards, as one of the gentlemen was on yesterday, actually gave measurements for a standard billiard table, how much room you need, you know, because you got to get back and with the cue stick and all that.
Right.
And do you know how many tables are in that room right now?
Somehow 9 sticks in my mind, but I think that may be table tennis.
All right, so it needs, they do need a certain amount of room.
Yes, they do.
And but they were willing. They were talking about it. But a few people gave kind of a history of mm-hmm. the room and how much they like going over there. Some people go over I think 7 days a week, a few people play billiards.
One man said all the years he's lived here, I think 3.5 years, he's only missed 3 days.
Yeah, that's incredible. So there's a need for both, and we can certainly see with the theater groups, I didn't realize that they had to go all over.
Oh my gosh.
And that's difficult, especially if you are having a performance on that stage. It's so convenient to have a rehearsal room or whatever you need on a side room, and then you can just pop over on the stage and the people can rehearse over there while another group is rehearsing off stage, which is pretty common to do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I'm sure it'll all be worked out, and both parties seem to be willing to give and take a little bit.
Absolutely, which is unusual for our community.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Yeah, that's true. Today, of course, is the version 3 presentation. Yes. And as both you and the other board presidents have said over the past few months, once you get to version 3, things are pretty well set. There are going to be tweaks to it. There always is before you get to the final. A lot of people think this is the final one. It's not. It's basically making way for the final one. Right. And then you vote on it in the next meeting. Anything we should be looking for today? Any major changes or certain things that you've seen?
You know, I don't anticipate any major changes. Changes now would probably be more related to what the mutuals have done to their budgets that affect our budget. Our operating is pretty well set. It's virtually the same as last year. I believe we have a 1 cent decrease per man or per month. Where our increase is we are no longer going back and falsely reducing dues by taking a surplus and giving it back to the members. And the reason for this is you can only do that for so long before it catches up with you, and it's caught up with us. We've been budgeting tighter over the last few years, so there is less of a surplus, but in addition, the community has had a number of unexpected expenses, flooding, slope failures, things that were not budgeted for that the surplus had to be used for, and we anticipate some other large expenses that will use up a good portion of this surplus. And rather than, and I mentioned it yesterday, rather than giving this money back to the members and then saying, wait a minute, we need to take it back again, we'll keep it and use it towards those issues. So again, operating remains the same. It's our contingency and our reserves for these added expenses that are holding us back and causing the increase.
Yeah, we've seen that over the years with our own state, haven't we?
We sure have.
When there's been surpluses years ago and you actually got a rebate check, and then lo and behold, the next year we're in a deficit.
Absolutely.
And you're like, well, why didn't you just keep this money and hold it in a reserve and maybe pay it forward and therefore, but they didn't. Anyway.
I think it's easier to keep it than to give it back and give this false sense of having money and then having to take it back again. So, you know, it's two different schools of thought, but that's where we are this year.
And as you have said, as well as the other board members we have on, this is a community that's coming up on 50 years. And so therefore, there are a lot of facilities that need to be looked at, whatever they might be. Obviously, you're looking at the recreation master plan, but just things in general, after so long, they need updating. And sometimes it's hard to anticipate. Things are working well, and all of a sudden it breaks down, right. And whatever it might be, and it can be something major. And we've seen that with the slope failures.
Absolutely.
is a good example of that. I remember several years ago, although it was the Home Depot responsibility, but the big one, but it affected Gate 14
Absolutely.
For a while there.
Yes, and I might remind everyone that the Recreation Master Plan has no bearing on this year's budget right now. Anything we've done does not include it. This is normal practice within the community. And so don't blame it on a master plan that we haven't even put into place yet, other than it in concept. Whether we did the master plan or didn't, this would be the budget this coming year.
Right, and Director Souza has said that many, many times.
Yes.
I do want to remind people, forgot to mention this, about a cancellation of the GRF Landscape Committee meeting, normally held on this Thursday. That has been canceled, and so their next meeting date will be September 19th. I forgot to mention that at the top of the news, so I wanted to do that there. Well, I know you got a big meeting to go to.
Yes.
And this is kind of a meeting that you get to, once the meeting gets started, you can kind of sit back and
let Betty handle
let
it.
Betty handle that. And then you and the other board members and also members in general can comment on that. So thank you for coming on today. Now, this meeting, meaning I should say yesterday's August regular monthly meeting, that will be replayed for the first time on Thursday at 1:30. And as I said, it's about 2 hours and 17 minutes. Then we replay it next Wednesday at 6 p.m. The budget meeting today is a little bit different in that it is going to be replayed tonight. And then it will be replayed again on August 13th at 2 p.m. So that's the budget meeting. A lot of meetings
Yes.
this month.
You don't have to tell me. I spend my life in meetings.
Yeah,
these
get out.
days.
If you're watching at home, get out the popcorn. All right, thank you for coming on, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Folks, we'll be right back.